This is the Speaking of Writers podcast. I'm Steve Richards. This is the Speaking of Writers podcast. I'm Steve Richards. Our guest today, Catherine Burroughs, professor, playwright, poet, and now novelist, here to discuss her powerful debut novel, Evo's Landing. Set between 1959 and 1994, this riveting story follows two families on South Carolina's Edisto Island whose lives are forever altered by the birth of a mixed race child to a white mother and her black lover. At its core, this is a novel about family, legacy, racism, reconciliation, and the question of whether atonement for the past is ever truly possible. Catherine joins us now to talk about the inspiration behind Evo's Landing. Welcome.
Thank you, Steve. Evo's Landing is something that almost came to me. I don't know where it came from. I had bought the house on Edisto, and I was living in New York and commuting, and I wanted to be close to the island.
Well, you've written across genres, poetry, plays, teaching literature for decades. What finally sparked the idea for Evo's Landing? And why did this story feel like the one that had to be told, Catherine?
Okay. Well, I was just one day moving around, and I had this image come to me of a girl who was on the eve of her wedding being in a hammock at her home called Evo's Landing by her father. And she was too lazy to get a popsicle that she'd made the day before. And that image just kept coming to me. And I thought, what is this about? Who is this girl? What is her attitude towards getting married at a young age, leaving college after 2 years? So that was the beginning.
For viewers and listeners, I always still say listeners because I'm an old radio guy, so who haven't yet picked up the book, can you give us a sense of the novel's heart? What happens when
Yes.
2B Carbo and Andrew Middleton defy the world around them?
That's a good question. The heart of the novel is the attempt on the part of Tubi's father, Julian Carbo, to try in some ways to atone for the fact that he had a racist father who had a plantation. And so Julian, the father, thought, maybe I'll rename my plantation after the Igbo, which was a radical act in 1959 or earlier. And the Igbo, may I take a minute to say, Steve, what the Igbo,
Sure.
their significance is? In 1802, there was an actual mutiny at Dawson's Creek below Savannah. And what happened is, it's one of the early mutinies by the enslaved. Some Africans from Sierra Leone were being brought to become slaves, and the crew was able to overcome the captain and to steer the ship toward the shore. They ran aground. Many of them were fished out of the water, but some decided maybe they could walk back to Sierra Leone. And as they did, they followed their chief into the water, singing, "The sea has brought us, the sea will take us home." So the heart of the novel is this effort at atonement and the ways in which even contemporary, let's say now, men and women might somehow be able to overcome their inheritance of the sadistic practices of the enslavement period.
Your novel asks some very tough questions about race, family, and atonement. What themes rose to the surface for you as you wrote, and what do you hope readers wrestle with as they turn the pages of this book?
Thank you. There's not enough discussion of the ways in which people are still divided between, the legacy of Reconstruction in the South, the Civil War, the Lost Cause, and how they can somehow um, create a situation in their lives whereby they would actually be able to socialize with Black people and white people. I understand Black is the appropriate word for African American these days. And so this struggle that we're still laboring under, the ways in which racism is rearing its ugly head more than ever, et cetera.
Let's talk about your research journey with this book.
Yes.
Historical events mention 1802 and the Igbo
Mhm.
Mutiny, and the haunting song of Return to Africa echo
Yes.
throughout this novel. Can you share what your research process looked like for this novel and how you balance fact with imagination?
Yes, thank you. Well, I have around 6 academic books, and of course, the process of research for those books enabled me to do a lot of research for this particular novel. For example, I started to say, well, who are the Igbo? What have they done? What's the legacy in the low country of South Carolina? But also, perhaps more interestingly for me, it was okay, if you have a character that's going to get married, and you have the College of Charleston, and you have questions that arise around how would people have responded to these particular moments in their lives. Um, what to what degree were mixed race children going all the way back to miscegenation in the South? To what degree have those children struggled themselves? So one thing led to another, Steve, and it was very exciting for me. I also did a lot of research on the Civil War. I had already been interested in that, and I was just doing that for so-called pleasure. But I started to say, well, what were the mutinies in the 19th century, et cetera?
Hmm. Are you working on another book? And can you give us a glimpse
Mhm.
into what your next project is and how it connects or contrasts with
Yes.
Epo's Landing?
Okay, thank you. Um, I thought I was working on another project. Before Evo's Landing, I had drafted a novel, but it is too autobiographical for my taste. It is a feminist coming of age novel in the 70s. But I'm right now thinking I need to move away from that kind of material. And as in Evo's, write something I don't know about. Doesn't mean it won't, you know, um, adhere to my own experience, but how can I do something totally new? So I can't say I'm sorry.
But there is something coming.
There is something coming.
All right, we'll leave that at that. I want to ask you a few, we call this a little bit of a lightning round, some fun
Mhm.
questions, some easy
Yes,
questions for you.
yes,
The first book you ever loved as a child, do you remember what it was?
yes. The Secret Garden by
Hmm.
Frances Hodgson Burnett. I
Poet,
loved that.
poet or novelist? You only get to be one for a day.
Oh
Which do
yeah,
you choose?
novelist now.
Oh yeah. Morning writer or late night writer?
Um, Morning writer, but usually I sleep late and then I might write for 2 to 3 hours.
If you could time travel to any literary era, Victorian
Mm.
salons, Harlem Renaissance, Beat Generation, where would you go, Catherine?
To the Lake Country, Grosmere, where Wordsworth and Coleridge did their work. I have been, but I haven't been there long enough.
What's the most beautiful place in the South you've ever visited?
I have to say Edisto Island.
If your characters could step out of the book and give you one piece of advice, what do you think they'd say?
Keep your heart open.
Great advice. Catherine Burroughs, Evo's Landing. The book is available Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and it is out now. Thank you for joining me.
Steve, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
There's been interest in Hollywood in the novel, and so I can't say anything about that beyond that fact. So I just wanted to put that in.
All right, so we should keep looking out for that.
Yes.
for a possible Hollywood production of this
Yes.
book, Ebo's Landing. It is out now, but check it out. Read it before the movie comes out, if the
Yes.
movie comes out. And
Yes.
again, you can pick up a copy of Ebo's Landing wherever books are sold. Catherine, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Steve.
And this is the Speaking of Writers podcast. Thank you for watching. I'm Steve Richards. This is the Speaking of Writers podcast. I'm Steve Richards.